Welcome to ISO 45001 in 45 minutes, where we unpack Clause 10 entitled Improvements. Hi, and welcome to ISO 45001 in 45 minutes. And this is the last series, Clause 10 on improvements. So, Clause 10.1, determine opportunities to improve, take actions to achieve the intended outcome. So, improvements that take place in your OSH management system are not always dependent on non-conformities. You might identify an opportunity to improve as part of a safety committee meeting that's not on the back of a non-conformity. So you should also consider in your processes for improvement how you can improve your OSH management system based on all inputs and all opportunities. So determine opportunities to improve, take actions to achieve the intended outcome of your OSH management system. And then the bulk of Clause 10 is covered under Clause 10.2 entitled Incidents, Nonconformity, and Corrective Action. So again, we require a process. It doesn't necessarily have to be documented, but if you're in a large organization, it really is the best way to do things. So a process for the reporting, investigating, and taking action to address incidents and nonconformances. So the standard requires that you react timeously. So we need to consider the significance of an incident. If there was a fatality, a significant near miss in which people could have died, obviously the reaction time should be immediate. Versus something that you find out about, which is of minor significance, obviously they're saying to you that you need to consider the significance of the incident in terms of the time that it takes you to respond. So when an incident or a nonconformance occurs, you need to control and correct it. So let's use a fire as an example. You're going to control the fire, you're going to stop the fire before you break out the investigation process for obvious reasons. So that's what we mean by you will control and correct to prevent further loss. You'll then address the consequences of those particular issues. Investigate with the participation of workers or their representatives. It might also be interested parties such as regulators, etc. So you should investigate, identify root or contributing factors. Whatever root cause analysis technique you want to use is totally up to you. Have similar instances occurred before within your organization? Look at previous incident history, look at trends. What had previously been done? Had the effectiveness of corrective action previously been adequate or been suitable, and is it related to the same incident? You also need to take action to prevent recurrence. So once you've investigated, you've found out the facts, you then apply whatever root cause analysis technique you want to use. You then need to create corrective action around the root causes to prevent recurrence of the particular issue. As part of your investigation technique or process, review existing risk assessments, because what they will infer there is that if you've had an incident, either it hasn't been identified as a risk or the existing controls have failed. So review the effectiveness of your risk assessment. Implement actions in conjunction with your change management process. Remember that what we said in Clause 8 is that all changes need to take place in a controlled manner. So identify risks associated with change, develop a plan, look at resources, look at how you're going to monitor and measure the changes as well. Actions should be in accordance with the hierarchy of control. So when you've identified the root causes and as part of your change process, you're going to implement corrective action, ensure that you consider the hierarchy of controls from eliminate, substitute, engineering, administrative, all the way down to PPE. And then also you're required to review the effectiveness of actions taken. Once you've taken action, you shouldn't just go and close the improvement out. Is once the corrective actions are in place, look at the effectiveness of the controls in preventing recurrence of that particular issue. Make changes to the OSH management system as may be required and retain records. Also ensure that you communicate outcomes of the investigation to workers or interested parties and the regulators. Now, a lot of businesses that we know have got an initial awareness that they create around the incident and then taking some of the key factors and then communicating with them within their organization or to other organizations that are benchmarking against them. So again, the bulk of Clause 10 is in Clause 10.2 entitled Investigate Incidents, Nonconformities, and Corrective Action. Then moving on to Clause 10.3 is the continual improvement, which is really the outcome of your management system. Is you want to establish it, you want to mitigate your risks, you want to leverage your opportunities, you want to achieve the intended outcomes of your management system, such as preventing injury and ill health, achieving your objectives, achieving legal compliance, providing and maintaining a safe working environment. So as part of that continual improvement, the standard requires that you improve your OSH performance. You also, now remember what I'm about to say here, is promote a culture which supports the OSH management system. If you remember from clause 5, where we said in clause 5.1, that is a requirement of leadership. It's also a requirement of continual improvement, that you're continually improving your culture, which of course supports the OSH management system, because we all know the behavioral based issues that will impact your management system's effectiveness. You should also, as part of your continual improvement, promote the participation of workers or their representatives in the OSH management system. And again, in my mind, that is a key culture creating issue, is that participation and consultation of workers or their representatives. Get everybody involved. Then also communicate the results of continual improvement to workers or interested parties, and of course, retain records. So an overview of what a clause 10 process could look like, whether it's standalone for OSH or integrated. So then you've got your improvement process and you've got a whole lot of outputs, which should cover the ability to be able to drive continual improvement within your business, to be able to log improvements, whether they've come in from an incident or a non-conformity or just an opportunity to improve your business that people have seen. Obviously, if it is a non-conformity or an incident, the investigation, root cause analysis, corrective action, review of the effectiveness of actions taken, all drawn into your continual improvement loop. So we trust that you've enjoyed this series. There you have it, Clause 10, an overview of improvements. And this was ISO 45001 in 45 minutes.